Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are completely tearing down the facade of modern entrepreneurship. Look, every single year, thousands of people launch these incredibly flashy businesses, right? We're talking trendy cafes, hyped up streetwear brands, those super aesthetic cloud kitchens, and honestly, on Instagram, it looks absolutely spectacular. You see the grand opening, the massive crowds, the perfectly edited reels, and it just feels like they've completely made it. But behind the filters, the reality is usually pretty brutal. Within 5 years, a huge chunk of these glamorous setups either shut down entirely or the owner basically becomes trapped, working morning to night in what is essentially a glorified, incredibly high-stress job. But here is the truly fascinating part. While everyone is distracted by the shiny new startups, there is a completely different class of entrepreneurs quietly generating immense wealth. They aren't on reality TV, they definitely aren't posting motivational quotes, and they aren't posing with rented sports cars. Instead, they are running completely unsexy, utterly boring businesses. And as we'll see today, where there is a lack of glamour, there is a massive lack of competition.
Okay, let's dive into this by looking at two hypothetical entrepreneurs from our source material to really paint the picture, Karan and Mahesh. Now, both of these guys start with the exact same capital, let's say about 1.5 million rupees, or roughly 15 lakhs. Karan, well, he wants the applause. He builds this premium cafe with gorgeous interiors, imported espresso machines, custom lighting, and of course, that perfect Instagram wall. And opening day, it's a massive hit. He gets the likes, the shares, the validation, the whole shebang. Mahesh, on the other hand, starts something so utterly boring that there's literally no ribbon cutting. There's no social media post. There's barely even a sign on his door. He just has a tiny office, a few employees, and a handful of service contracts. But let's fast forward 3 years. Karan is still physically standing in his cafe every single day, stressed out of his mind, desperately hustling for daily foot traffic just to make rent. Mahesh? Well, he's vacationing with his family in Goa, while his customers automatically deposit money into his bank account every single month.
So I really want you to think about this. What makes their realities so radically different? Is Mahesh just, a genius? Is he just smarter? Does he work harder than Karan? Absolutely not. Honestly, Karan is probably working double the hours and sweating over every tiny detail of his cafe. The secret here isn't talent, and it certainly isn't a higher tolerance for grinding it out. The core difference is that Karan chose a model reliant on a daily, exhausting hustle just to survive. Mahesh chose a fundamentally different financial model, one that was built from the ground up to operate without his constant physical presence. He didn't just build a job for himself, right? He built an automated cash flow system.
To understand exactly how Mahesh pulled this off, we need to look at the first major category of these unseen wealth generators: boring B2B, or business-to-business service contracts. These are setups that lack absolutely any trace of glamour, but they completely overflow with financial reliability. Because they don't sell to individual consumers just walking off the street, they sell directly to large institutions. Take things like commercial cleaning, pest control, or commercial laundry. I mean, if you tell someone at a dinner party that you run a floor sweeping company or a cockroach extermination business, they might literally turn and walk away from you. But these three unsexy businesses represent something absolutely vital: essential infrastructure. Think about massive corporate IT parks, sprawling city hospitals, or five-star hotels. Every single morning, without fail, those glass doors must be spotless, the floors have to shine, hospital linens must be perfectly sanitized, and restaurant kitchens must be entirely pest-free. These are not fun little luxuries that get cut when the economy slows down. They are strict, undeniable operational requirements. Large institutions simply cannot survive without them.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the psychology behind why these businesses are so wildly lucrative. A hospital administrator doesn't want to wake up and manage a team of 50 janitors. A hotel manager doesn't want to buy, repair, and maintain million-dollar industrial washing machines. They just don't want the headache. So as a business owner in these spaces, you have to realize you aren't actually selling a mop or a washing machine or bug spray. You are selling tension removal. You secure an annual or multi-year contract and you just take their headache away entirely. The owner of the commercial cleaning company isn't the one holding the mop. Their job is to build the system, manage the contracts, and maintain the quality. And because it's a long-term contract, that crippling everyday stress of having to hunt for new customers, it's completely eliminated.
And because you're providing that ultimate tension removal, a happy client easily becomes 10 new clients. Just imagine a restaurant owner who spots a cockroach in the kitchen at 10 p.m., right before a major health inspector is due the very next morning. That is a massive, high-urgency crisis. Now, if your pest control company swoops in and solves that urgent problem efficiently, you haven't just won a recurring contract. That deeply relieved owner is going to recommend you to literally every other restaurant owner in their network. In these unglamorous B2B sectors, solving a critical operational problem leads to the absolute best and cheapest marketing in the world: word-of-mouth referrals from high-paying institutional clients.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We're moving from service contracts to our second category, location-based cash machines. If the first category was all about managing people to solve institutional headaches, this category is about utilizing silent, tireless assets.
We're talking about things like vending machines and RO water ATMs. Seriously, think about it. You walk through a busy airport, a massive corporate office block, a bustling metro station, or a big college campus. You see these machines just sitting quietly in the corner, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are fulfilling perpetual, unbreakable human demands. People will always need daily hydration, and people will always want a quick snack or a caffeine hit. These machines require 0 employees to stand there and operate a storefront. They never take public holidays, they don't demand tea breaks, and, best of all, they never HR file complaints. Even as technology completely changes how we live and AI advances, the fundamental human need for clean drinking water and a quick energy boost remains totally unchanged. And this brilliantly illustrates a rather harsh reality about this specific business model. You could have the absolute most advanced, beautiful vending machine on the market, stocked with the finest premium imported products, but if you place it in a dead hallway with 0 foot traffic, you are going to lose money. Conversely, you can have a completely average, almost ugly machine stocked with totally average water or basic potato chips, but if it's positioned perfectly in a high-traffic transit hub, your bank balance is going to steadily grow day after day.
It really all boils down to this: products can be copied, locations cannot. The biggest mistake newcomers make in this space is focusing all their capital, all their energy, on the machine itself, and they end up treating the location like an afterthought. But you really have to understand that the machine isn't the business. The real estate strategy is the business. You are monetizing high-density foot traffic. Once you secure that perfect spot, the silent salesman just does its job, whether you're sleeping at home or traveling in a completely different city.
Moving on, we arrive at our third category, which capitalizes on a massive psychological and financial shift in how modern companies choose to operate today. We call this the power of renting. And honestly, this is arguably one of the best-kept cash flow secrets in the entire business world.
Just put yourself in the shoes of a commercial builder for a second. You've got a new construction project, and you need a highly specialized industrial concrete cutter, but you only need it for exactly 10 days. You look at your options, right? Option A is to buy the machine outright for a staggering 5 lakh rupees. Option B is to just rent it for 8,000 rupees a day. I mean, it is an absolute financial no-brainer. The builder doesn't want the headache of finding storage for this massive machine, maintaining it, or dealing with trying to resell it a year later. They just want the 10 days of work completed.
So the crucial point is this: people pay for access, not ownership. As the owner of an equipment rental business, you purchase the asset once. Over the first few months of renting it out, the machine completely pays for its own purchase price. After that break-even point is reached, every single time that asset goes out the door, the rental fee is almost pure profit. You are essentially turning heavy machinery into a money-printing press that pays you over and over again for one single initial investment.
Now, let's take everything we've just learned about renting physical assets and move it entirely into the digital world. This is our fourth category, software as a service, or SaaS for short. It essentially takes the exact same unglamorous cash flow model we've been discussing and scales it to absolute infinity.
You know, you are already part of this model through the monthly fees you pay for things like Netflix or your iCloud storage. But the real, boring money in SaaS, it isn't in media. It's in solving tedious administrative headaches for other businesses. Think about a local gym owner struggling to track hundreds of member renewals, or a busy medical clinic just drowning in missed appointments and scheduling chaos, or a school trying to manage fee collections and parent communications without losing their minds. Business owners do not care about fancy, innovative tech just for the sake of tech. They want relief. If your software can take a deeply frustrating task that consumes an hour every single day and turn it into an automated 10-minute process, they will gladly hand you a subscription fee every single month forever.
And here's exactly why SaaS boasts some of the highest profit margins in the entire business world. If a traditional physical business wants to grow from 10 customers to 10,000 customers, they have to build new factories, rent massive new warehouses, hire hundreds of staff members, and manage incredibly complex supply chains. But in the software world, you write the code once, Adding your 10,000th customer costs almost exactly the same as adding your 10th customer. It requires 0 new factories. The product is built one time, but it is sold endlessly.
Okay, so we've covered cleaning contracts, vending machines, heavy tool rentals, and software. But the absolute best insight from the source material isn't actually about choosing a specific industry at all. The #1 secret to wealth generation isn't a specific business, it is a master philosophy that ties everything we've discussed today together.
Let's move to and see how this builds. The invisible thread connecting every single successful, boring business we've looked at today is this one simple concept: recurring revenue. Whether it's an annual pest control contract, a monthly laundry agreement, a daily rental fee, or a software subscription, the core mechanic is exactly the same. You do the hard work of acquiring the customer once, and the financial system you've built continues to harvest income month after month automatically.
This creates a profound shift in mindset. When the average struggling hustler evaluates a new business idea, they basically ask one question: how much profit will I make on this sale? They are forever trapped on a treadmill, constantly hunting for one-time transactions. But the wealthy entrepreneur, the one actually building true automated systems, asks a fundamentally different question: how many times will this profit repeat? They don't chase the excitement of a single sale. They chase predictable, repeating cash flow.
And that leaves us with the ultimate filter. Before you invest your time, your energy, or your 15 lakh rupees into absolutely any new venture, ask yourself this one provocative question: will this business pay me once, or will it pay me again and again? If you prioritize systems over glamour and repeating cash flow over one-time applause, you won't just build a business, you'll build absolute freedom. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking the right questions, and I'll catch you next time.